Andre?
And I guess that's a continuation of Kathy's comment. I guess that's where I'm getting to. Not a definitive date, but at what point did you begin to accept and begin to turn it around, as she mentions, to get your arms around it, to feel, you know, from this point forward, here's how I'm going to operate. Can you share your thoughts with us on that?
I believe it's from the beginning of life. I believe that everything that happened was to prepare me for the next level for this. Because if it's all planned, there's no accidents or coincidence. So everything that's been placed in my life has been placed there to take me to each level.
Okay, now you're thinking back on it, right? Okay, and I guess when I'm trying to get at Charles.
Oh, you mean when it really starts sinking in? When I really start picking?
A month ago, 6 months, you know, forget about a definitive date. But when did that feeling hit you, that you began feeling and now articulating the way that you feel?
Beyond forgiveness.
Okay.
Is when it hit me.
And for those of you that aren't aware, it's a weekend that Susan and I do call Beyond Forgiveness. And I have to say, Charles had himself pretty well together and pretty peaceful before he did that weekend. But I do remember during that weekend just a huge shift that took place for Charles. It's a rather intense weekend. We pull no punches. We tell you exactly like it is in that weekend. And there was a moment, and I can't remember exactly when it was either, but I remember just looking at Charles and thinking, wow, something has shifted. Because this total peace just seemed to come over him. And like I said, he was peaceful. He was together when he showed up for the weekend. But boy, there was a point where it's just, you could tell, just a total peace enveloped his body. That's awesome, my friend. Wow. Darren, you had your hand up.
One of the things I really appreciate about death is it gives us an opportunity and a reminder to live more powerfully. Yeah, and on this plane, one of the things I struggle with is, like, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about all the things that I want to do, that I have yet to do, that I'm going through my list, listening to you. I don't even have a time frame. I'm sitting here thinking, man, I gotta get my shit together and get busy. I got a lot of stuff to do. So how do you deal with what's left undone, like that, as far as this here? Because I'm sure you know, you all got a plan, like things that you want to get done, and you know, with a shorter time frame, you can't get it all done. How do you deal with that?
Well, sometimes it's frustrating, but when you really boil it down, like I said, all you got at the moment. And you can't do but one thing at a time. So you pick what's most important to you, what brings you the most joy, happiness, and do that.
And I can say along those lines, Charles has spent the last few weeks with his son. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Okay. I went for a vacation, and I ended up staying in North Dakota. Okay, my son, we haven't been together since he was like 12 years old. He's 37 now. I had 3 grandkids there. Well, 2 at home, 1 a teenager, 19, so I think he's real grown right now. But two little ones, 11 and an 8-year-old. My granddaughter is 11 and my grandson is 8. It's a whole new world. You know, I know things I wanted to do here. But then when you listen to Spirit, you'll find out what you really say you want to see, then you want to see things differently. It's the way it really falls in. And I'm still connected here. You know, at first I felt all separate. I felt all kind of changes, you know, because I felt like I was away from my family. And I still miss you, you know, because this is the church I started going to. I really getting real relationships, you know, just being myself, you know. And it's kind of different. So now I'm somewhere, the great things there I love, but then there's so much here I'm missing, and I love too. But the thing is, I believe everything is as it should be. I'm in my right place for this moment. So you do what it is that you need to do in that moment, and you do it and ask Spirit what it is you should do, and then go from there.
There you go. I have a feeling that list that we all have gets real short when you start realizing what's important and what isn't. and you start throwing the unimportant stuff off the list, that list will get real short. And I really get that he's doing what he's called to do.
And think of this too. I got all the time in the world. So whatever is supposed to be done is going to be done.
There you go. There.
I thought it would be appropriate I mentioned something. I was declared dead by 2 doctors in hospital, and the experience was magnificent. It was extraordinary. I know now that I am spirit, and I am like, this is God, and I'm one of his fingers. There's some threads that attach me to that loving light that I experience, which to date I have not been able to convey with words what that was, because it's so magnificent, so grand. When I was sent back to my body through my mouth, and I left through my mouth, I was told very clearly, just trust. That's what is. When you ask about what will happen with the things you have to do and how will you feel, it is an amazing sense of peace. It's like you're given a shower, complete soak into absolute peace when you're in that moment. And there's nothing that you would want to do but that. And through my life, I went through several churches, finding and studying everything you can imagine. Theologists have not studied as much as I have, with finding a teaching that would convey my experience out there. It was in the Course in Miracles that I found it. And that completely brought me into it. That's why I am with the Course in Miracles, and that's why I'm here. Because I know that what I read in that book is exactly my experience of being out there, of truly being the child of God and knowing that everything that happens to me here is constantly, absolutely, and totally guided. That's all I can say.
I think that's something Charles would totally agree with. We've done a lot of talking around the Course and what it teaches, and that's exactly what it teaches. I like that. Mark.
My wife Sheila and I have a very dear friend. His name is Howard, and he is in hospice care now with cancer. And well, I won't name it. He's very ill, and he's been fighting it for the last year and a half or so. And my question to you is, the vitality of this man has been temporarily taken away, and each day it seems like he slips a little further and further. He is now in bed. He cannot get out of bed, and he can't use one side of himself. He has problems speaking. If you were to visit him, what would you say to him? What kind of guidance could you give him?
Well, it's something I look at off that the movie, but it's just something I really know is from God. It's if you lose all your limbs, would you still be you? If you and saying what part, what is you in there? What part of what makes it you? Is it the brain? No, because it's still part of the body. So a mind is who you are. So I would just remind him of who he is, and let him know that look, you finished your vacation. That there's nothing to there is something. Okay, yes, it's going to be sad, but it's more joy what you get ready to do. It's time to. I feel like it's time to go plan another vacation somewhere else.
Good advice.